Well, Claus, we've got quite a story to dig into today. A pretty major security breach involving some very high ranking US officials, leaks of sensitive information from a group chat, no less. And get this, the chat included top US intelligence people and even the Secretary of Defense. The heart of the matter here revolves around plans for a US airstrike against Houthi rebels over in Yemen. These plans were made public by The Atlantic, and their editor in chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, came out and said they did this because the administration kept saying over and over that the info wasn't actually classified. To make matters even more complicated, it's come out that White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a journalist to this chat, and he's owned up to it since then. But the possible consequences here are huge, especially with reports saying all these sensitive details were flying around an hour or even more before the operation was actually supposed to kick off. So let's dive into exactly what came out. The Atlantic laid it all out, giving the exact launch times for the F-18 strike aircraft, and we're talking 13.45 military time here, folks. But even in the target locations with timestamp of 14.10, but it goes even deeper than that. The leak also included info about a secondary strike package that's flying using drones. They even gave the estimated arrival times for those, and critically, the messages actually gave the time for when they expected the first bombs to hit. To add to the timeline, they even included the launch time for the Sea-based Tomahawk missiles. That was apparently supposed to happen about 30 minutes before the F-18s took off. The risks here with this kind of info getting out are really substantial. I mean, think about it. Giving the enemy an hour or more of the heads up can completely change how a military operation plays out. That much time could be enough for the Houthis to get ready for the U.S. forces coming in on the ground and in the air. And we have to remember the Houthis have actually shot down high-altitude drones before, so knowing what's coming is a huge advantage to them. I think part of this whole mess is how they were communicating in the first place. They were using the signal lounge. And a lot of people are asking if it was really smart or even appropriate to be using that platform to share these super sensitive operational details. I mean, it's pretty shocking that this level of detail, specific times, the exact weapons, and the order they were going to hit the targets was being shared outside of secure channels. Normally, this kind of stuff stays locked down tight, not sent around on an app that's not really designed for classified communication. So the White House's response to all this has been pretty interesting. At first, they were denying that the info was even classified. Then Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt came out and admitted that putting these messages out there wasn't authorized, but she stuck with the line that it was just internal talk between senior staff, and that sensitive info was definitely part of that talk. What's really interesting is that the White House also basically told people to go read the Atlantic article themselves and decide what they think about the intro that was shared. Now, to give you even more background here, it seems like there were warnings before about using Signal for official stuff. From what we understand, the NSC, that's the National Security Council, sent out a warning about a month before this happened. And on top of that, the DoD, the Department of Defense, also apparently warned people specifically that Signal wasn't secure enough for sensitive info. It seems like there were worries about using these kinds of messaging apps for really high-level classified talks going all the way back to October 2023. So, as you might expect, there are different opinions on whether this leaked info should be considered classified at all. So, national security experts have said that the kind of operational details they were sharing before the strike would automatically be classified. On the other hand, some White House officials have been trying to downplay how serious it is. They're pointing to the fact that the strike against the Houthis was successful in the end, and they're defending what Mike Waltz did. We've also heard people like the Vice President and J.D. Vance saying that the Atlantic is blowing things way out of proportion when it comes to how sensitive this info really is. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is also finding himself under the microscope. Democratic lawmakers have gone so far as to call for him to resign, specifically because of how this security breach was handled. From what we hear, Hegseth, who's currently on a trip to the Indo-Pacific area, has been dodging questions about the whole thing. Instead, he's been trying to discredit Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. There are even reports that people inside the Pentagon are baffled and shocked by what's happened. One thing that has been confirmed is that White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has taken the blame for adding that journalist to the group chat. And of course, that's what led to all this info becoming public. So as things continue to develop, there are hearings going on right now on Capitol Hill about threats around the world. And you can bet that intelligence leaders are going to be grilled about the security breach. So to wrap things up, we've really dug into a significant security incident where highly sensitive operational details about a planned U.S. airstrike were leaked. This information was shared on an app that's not considered secure enough for that kind of data, and it included very precise times, target locations, and even the specifics of the weapons they plan to use. All of this raises big concerns about the safety of U.S. military personnel. This whole situation has sparked a debate about whether the leaked info should even be considered classified, if it's appropriate to use apps like Signal for this kind of communication, and who should be held accountable among these high-ranking government officials. It really highlights that tough balance between needing to be transparent and the absolutely critical need to protect national security info in our world that becoming more and more digital every day. If you found this analysis helpful, please consider liking and subscribing for more in-depth looks at important issues. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.